back. The best damn movie podcast besides Bros Who Binge on the planet. Run it back. We are back, baby.
Wait, are you saying we're worse?
No.
Are you saying I'm dragging you down?
No, I'm saying it's equally as good.
Because you guys are the other one, and I'm the only difference here.
I'm saying it's equally as good, you asshole.
Then you need to make that clear, sir. We're talking about a movie. We're talking about a movie about words. It's not reporting.
It's the best review show.
Yeah, there we go, Schubert. There we go. The best movie review show on the planet.
And that's even a cop-out. That's like when you ask your parents, Mom, am I your favorite? And she says, you're my favorite oldest son. It's like, Mom, obviously I'm your favorite oldest. I'm the only oldest. There can only be one oldest. It's me.
I don't have a favorite pod.
On the Bros Who Binge, sometimes when we get, sometimes when we get to the end, we get a little burnt out. So maybe we like slack on the movie reviews if we ever do a movie.
Oh, so I'm just the stopgap to you guys now? I'm the guy that closes the hole on the sinking ship?
Not even.
All right, do your intro. And
anyway, I said the best movie podcast besides Bros Who Binge. That's what I said, you asshole. But joining us as always.
Not even blow.
See, it's equal to my
maybe
co-host.
Alongside next time.
All right, alongside.
Yes.
My name is Lyndon Burton. We got Ian Hawley to my left, Adam Schubert below. How you gentlemen doing this week?
Great.
Fantastic, man. We're over the hump. It's Wednesday when we're recording. So
yes, sir.
By the time you hear this, it'll be Friday.
Yeah, this show now has a release schedule. It's bi-weekly, and it comes out every Friday.
Yeah, man, you guys are having a lot better on Friday than I'm having on Wednesday right now. I'll tell you that much.
Me too. I'm with you. But this week, we decided to do a throwback. We went back to like the 70s. This is like the first old movie we've done since The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We're in 1976. Wait, God, we did The Good, the Bad, the Ugly after Godfather.
Yeah.
So since Godfather, All the President's Men. So, initial thoughts. I'll start with you, Ian, because this is not one that you just saw. This is one you've seen multiple times, and I like newspaper movies. I've seen this multiple times as well. How'd you feel?
Fans of the show will know that I'm usually the guy who hasn't seen the movie.
That's Schubert this week.
Yeah, now this time it's Schubert. I've seen this movie probably 10, 12 times now. This was actually, I'm in the news now. This was one of the things that inspired me to go that route. This is like one of my dad's favorite movies. He was a history teacher, so he used to show this to his kids when he was teaching about the Watergate scandal. So we watched it a bunch in my house. So I love this movie. I was excited to review this movie, and I was shocked that, especially with Schubert's recent binge of trying to watch every movie ever that's relevant, I'm surprised this hasn't come up yet. So I'm glad to be here with you guys reviewing this one. Yeah,
this is one, like, for me, I watched this, Schubert knows, and you know too, Ian, when like a year and a half ago, I guess 2 years now at this point, which, damn, Schubert, we've been doing Bros Binge for a while, but I guess 2 years ago, when I got on my old movie kick, when I was watching things like Citizen Kane, Chinatown, fucking Vertigo, all the Akira Kurosawa movies, when I went on like my Alfred Hitchcock run, this was one of the movies I watched as well. Because like one day I watched a Robert Redford movie, like early Robert, I guess it was earlier Robert Redford than this. One of his cowboy Western movies. And then I was like, damn, let me watch some other Robert Redford movies because I really like it. And then that got me into Dustin Hoffman, which then took me down the Hoffman rabbit hole. And this was the start of that. In this movie, funny enough, I watched after I listened to a Spotlight podcast where people were like, this is the other great newspaper movie. And funny enough, the person in Spotlight is Ben Bradlee's son. And I was like, no fucking way. The Bradleys have been dominating the newspapers for decades now, from Ben Bradley Sr. to the one that did the stuff with Spotlight and broke the Catholic priest or raping little boy story. So I'm like, damn.
Also for the Washington Post.
Exactly. And no, wasn't he with the Boston Globe at that point?
I thought it was Boston
Globe. It might have been Boston Globe.
That's the Boston Globe.
Right.
Because it broke in Boston because all the Boston Catholic churches, then it went widespread around America and Europe. So the Bradleys did a lot of shit with journalism and American history. And I'm like, well, damn, let me watch this movie. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Schubert, what's your thoughts of this movie?
I thought after seeing it twice, I think it's really good. First time I watched it through, I didn't really understand. I think we'll talk about it. I think we'll have similar thoughts on this, but like just the way everything moved through it. I got to the end and I was like, wait, how did we get here? Like,
Yeah, this movie's more so of what Woodward and Bernstein did than it is about explaining Watergate. Yeah, normally like, in movies like this now, if like for example, Spotlight was about how they figured it out, but it was more about informing the public, hey, these Catholic priests are raping little boys, and this is how much they were doing it. Whereas back then when this was made, you got to think Watergate just had happened. So they were more so interested in how Woodward and Bernstein did the Watergate situation, not about explaining what Watergate was.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. Because like that was what I watched it 2 days ago or yesterday. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to watch that all over again because I didn't know what I was gonna talk about on here. I was like, I don't remember anything significant. And then like when I rewatched it just before this, like, I kind of understood what was going on and like the certain things they did. I had lots of questions.
This movie. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Ian.
I'm just watching it, like I said, however many times now, but at least 10. And I still notice new things every time.
Hell yeah.
Like, for example, there's one scene where they have the TV up and Woodward is typing in the background. It's like Nixon speaking to Congress, I believe.
That's early in the film.
Or no, it was the election. I'm sorry. It was when he, wins the election and he comes out and they have the balloons pouring down. You can see when the footage of the news is cut together in the background, Bernstein's typewriter is jumping around when they caught all that stuff. There's just little things like that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, this, like you guys are saying, they kind of, rather than saying, okay, these were the events of the Watergate scandal, we're going to lay out all the people involved. We're going to show you from start to finish all of the steps that they took to crack this, story open. It was really more about just like, let us show you like what good reporters these guys were. Like, it was really more of a story about Woodward and Bernstein than it was the Watergate.
And not even like Woodward and Bernstein as people, more of, like you said, Woodward and Bernstein reporters, like how good of like researchers they were, how they went about their job. Like 100%. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And that's why I consider this a newspaper movie and not a Watergate movie. Like it is a Watergate movie, but it's more so a newspaper research movie.
Yeah. The Watergate just kind of happens to be the topic at hand.
It's the MacGuffin. Like, it's literally this is so this story could take place. Like, it is, Watergate's just like the backdrop, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. It's almost similar to another, I guess the Newsroom would be kind of comparable in this sense. Like, yeah, they talk about different news stories every episode, but it's really more about like the characters involved. I don't know if you guys ever seen the Newsroom on HBO.
Yeah.
Great show if you guys at home haven't seen it. But like it's more of just like, okay, this is how these two guys who went on to continue to be very successful journalists afterwards. Bob Woodward has, I don't know how many best-selling books now.
And like we said, the Bradleys are done.
Yeah, the Bradleys as well. So it kind of just introduces these.
And Bernstein married Nora Ephron, so like all of them did really well.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's married to Nora, like 100%.
That's funny.
Like that shit is crazy, and like that has something to do with some of the backdrop. So when we get into that, that'll be something that like is pretty important. So. Let's do any other initial thoughts before we jump in, because we'll talk about who is the best, who won this movie with acting wise. We'll talk about Hoffman versus Redford later in the show, and then we'll can this be one movie? Let me ask y'all. Let's do this now. Can we do an executive decision? Because to me, there's no real starters in this movie. Can we make the executive decision to make Ben Bradley, Jason Robards, the sixth man?
I thought he was a starter.
He is in a normal movie for us, but there's no real supporting characters. Like, this is Woodward and Bernstein. Like, I don't think Sloan did enough. I mean, you could maybe say Deep Throat. Like, I'd accept Deep Throat as a six man, but like, it's either Deep Throat or Robards to me, and Ben Bradley. Like, those are the two only other people that really affected this movie. And this is really a duo movie. And I feel like this is a 2-on-2 situation, and we got a sub in for the 2-on-2. Like,
yeah, there's not even a starting five.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to say, like, could we executive decision this early to just either give it to, we can pick later, but to me, it's between Deep Throat, Hal Holbrook's character, and Ben Bradley's Jason Robards.
No, because who's your five? You have to establish a five if you're going to pick a sixth.
Yeah,
and
well,
you
that's
can't
fair.
do that without Ben Bradley.
Well, then we'll just
the four most consistent guys are Woodward and Bernstein, their boss, and then Ben Bradley.
Well, then for this movie, let's executive decision it to be not a six-man award, just the most important side character award.
Besides the main two of Woodward and Bernstein?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm okay with that.
Fair enough. Well, then, all right, cool. Now we can dive into it, because this movie really doesn't have a true starting five. Like, it's Woodward and Bernstein than everybody else, and like, it's different levels of everybody else. Because like, I'm not about to give it to Sloan or like or that woman like in the house crying. But we'll get to
it would have been Sally, because she busted the case wide open and had that dude on his heels.
Well, that might be who won the movie for you. We'll get to all of that. Don't you worry. We're not skipping steps. I just had to make we just had to come together to determine an executive decision. I had to present it to the board. Board voted. We accepted. Now that's democracy, ladies and gents. But let's push it forward. All right. As y'all know, we do background, and then we get into our other categories. Background for this: All the President's Men is a 1976 American biographical political drama thriller film. Talk about a mouthful. About the Watergate scandal that brought down the presidency of Richard Nixon. Directed by Alan J. Pakula, with a screenplay by William Goldman. It's based on the 1974 nonfiction book of the same name by Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, the two journalists investigating the Watergate scandal for the Washington Post. The film stars Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman as Woodward and Bernstein, respectively. It was produced by Walter Coblins and Redford's Wildwood Enterprises. We'll get to Redford because he was very important to this film. The film was nominated in multiple Oscar, Golden Globe, and BAFTA categories, and in the 2010, the film was selected for preservation in the United States Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Redford began asking about so this is the Redford stuff. Redford began asking about the Watergate break-in while promoting The Candidate, and then read Woodward and Bernstein's Watergate stories in the Washington Post while waiting to start filming The Way We Were. Redford spoke with Woodward in 1972 after a mistake involving Hugh Sloan. Redford bought the rights to Woodward's and Bernstein's book for guess how much? Give me a guess in 1974. How much do you think they paid for
it? $50,000.
Would you say, Schubert?
$1,800.
Would you say, Ian?
You said he bought the rights to make the movie?
Yeah.
From Woodward and Bernstein?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, well, now 50 seems way too high. If Schubert's saying 1,800.
No, it was 1,800 that's too fucking low. Schubert's clowning.
Yeah.
I was gonna say for the
Ian,
rights to make a movie.
Ian, you were more close than Schubert, but you were off by 400,000. They paid Redford himself paid $450,000. I thought it would have been closer to $1 million, which, I mean, it did end up making a lot more. So Woodward and Bernstein kind of got screwed for $450,000, but they still made a lot of money from the book. But the film had a budget of $5 million. Ben Bradley, executive editor of the Washington Post, realized that the film was going to be produced regardless of his approval and believed that it made more sense to try to influence it factually. He hoped that the film would show newspapers strive very hard for responsibility. Redford hired William Goldman to write the script in 1974. Goldman has said that Woodward was extremely helpful to him, but Bernstein was not. Goldman wrote that his crucial decision regarding the screenplay structure was to discard the second half of the book after he delivered his first draft in 1974 of August 1974. Warner Brothers agreed to finance the film. Redford was not happy with Goldman's first draft. Woodward and Bernstein read it and also didn't like it. Redford asked for their suggestions, but Bernstein and his girlfriend at the time, writer Nora Ephron, wrote their own draft. Redford showed the draft to Goldman, suggesting that it might contain some material that he could integrate, but Goldman later called Redford's acceptance of the Bernstein-Ephron draft a gutless betrayal. Redford later expressed dissatisfaction with Ephron dissatisfaction. Thank you, Ian. With Ephron and Bernstein's draft, saying a lot of sophomoric and way off beat. It was very amateur for screenwriting. They're just sending shots left and right. According to Goldman and what they wrote, Bernstein was sure catnip to the ladies, quote unquote. He also said that one of Bernstein and Ephron's scenes included in the final film a bit in which Bernstein deceives a secretary in order to see something that was not factually true. Also, it had a Bernstein sex scene in it, which also was not factually true. I mean, in the book, at least. So Redford ended up going with Goldman's draft. A lot of shots sent back and forth between Redford, Goldman, and Bernstein. Seems like Woodward was just down for the ride. Bernstein was being Bernstein. And it makes sense after seeing how Hoffman portrayed him. Made a lot of sense. But next up, Redford first selected Al Pacino to play Bernstein, but later decided that Dustin Hoffman was a better fit for the role. I think Redford was like, Al Pacino's too hot and too on fire, and I need to get Dustin Hoffman, someone that acts better than me but doesn't look as good as me. Al Pacino acts better than me and looks as good as me. That's why I think he didn't choose Pacino.
You think it was an ego thing?
Yeah, man, it had to be. You gotta think Pacino's coming off of Godfather and Dog Day Afternoon, which is like one of the best robbery movies ever. Dude is on fire, about to do Scarface, like looking sexy, one of America's most sexiest men at the time, according to People. Also, he was one of the best actors at the time. Like, Redford not trying to deal with that. That's like Brad Pitt going up against Leo when Leo was at his height. Like, once upon a time in Hollywood, they're both old men. No, that's like Brad Pitt going up against Leo when he was in Inception. Like,
I don't know, man. A lot of women would argue against the fact that Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio are past their prime.
I'm not saying
neither here nor there. For the sake of this
they are definitely still attractive, but I would say women would say they aren't the most attractive men in the world anymore.
Do you love them? Dustin Hoffman was good enough for Mrs. Robinson in the 70s, so I guess I was 69.
Bro, Dustin Hoffman don't have a shit to Robert Redford. Robert Redford in this movie, look, we gonna get to Robert Redford. I thought he was just captivating, like just a leading man. Like, Brad Pitt took lessons from Redford. And like you said, Ian, off air, it's a damn shame Robert Redford got all that damn plastic surgery because he looks completely different now.
Yeah,
well, Busey.
Granted, this was what,
he does look 50, like Busey.
This was nearly 50 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
So that also plays a factor. But yeah, he doesn't even look the same anymore.
Yeah,
you can barely tell that it's him.
He looks like a completely different person. Like, when I watch this movie and I watch Captain America Winter Soldier, I'm like, those are the same humans? Dude looks like he was an alien in Winter Soldier. But I digress. Back to this part. Enough judging men for like 15 minutes. Back to this background. Jason Robards was always Redford's choice to play Ben Bradley, which I think is perfect. However, he did consider at one point Jimmy Stewart and Schubert. I think Jimmy Stewart could have killed as Ben Bradley. Like, Jimmy Stewart is great. Ian, if you don't know, Jimmy Stewart is from It's a Wonderful Life. Jimmy Stewart is from, what else? Vertigo. He's from Rope. Jimmy Stewart, the man who shot Liberty Valance. He is one of the best actors of all time.
He was the guy in the Brando era.
Yeah, like, it was Brando, Jimmy Stewart, and fucking what's the other guy's name? James Dean, and fucking there's one more. Steve McQueen. That's it. There we go. Those guys were like the badass. So I would have liked to see Jimmy Stewart, but Jason Robards was great. Bradley had recommended George C. Scott and Jimmy Stewart for the role. He was somewhat unimpressed when Robards visited the post. offices to develop the feel for the newsroom. In advance of the shoot, Bradley told Robards, just don't make me look like an asshole. At first, Pakula was worried that Robards could not carry Bradley's easy elegance and command authority, but he ended up doing a great job. Carl Malden, Hal Holbrook, who would play Deep Throat, John Forsythe, Leslie Nielsen, Henry Fonda, Richard Widmark, Christopher Plummer, Anthony Quinn, Gene Hackman, Burt Lancaster, Robert Stack, Robert Meacham, and Telly Savalas were also considered for the role. Out of those names, Gene Hackman would have been a very good Robards, but he'd have not Robards, would have been a very good Bradley, but he would have, in the Bradley speeches, he'd have took it to 10. Like Gene Hackman would have started screaming. And I don't know if I'd have rocked with that. Also, who else would have been decent out of this list? Christopher Plummer would have been interesting. A young Christopher Plummer, who knows? But the final thing we have is some other Katharine Graham, who would play her in the film. The publisher, the woman, Sally, she also would have named. Oh no, Katharine Graham's the woman who Sally is. She would have wanted Katharine Hepburn, Lauren Bacall, or Patricia Neal to play her, but everybody was like, you look more like a Edna Mae Oliver or Marie Dressler. Bro, they're just throwing shots in the 60s, like 60s and 70s. Like, they're just fucking mean. And the final thing we got is Redford and Hoffman divided top billing, with Redford billed above Hoffman in the posters and trailers, while Hoffman billed above Redford in the film itself, in the same manner in which James Stewart and John Wayne divided top billing for John Ford's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Now, that
sounds like they were a cohesive unit.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So
that was probably what ended up coming down to with Pacino, is like, I think maybe just how it fit. I don't know what their relationship was like.
That's what I'm that's what I'm saying. Like, Pacino would have been too. Like, I just don't know if they would have.
I think he would have been too extra.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Like, Pacino would have took things over the top, where Dustin Hoffman played an extra guy, but he did it the right amount of extra. He wasn't too much. He didn't take away from Redford. Redford didn't take away from him. They were the perfect pairing. Pacino, that's the same guy that said, "Give me all you got," and that's a fine piece of ass. Like, dude's out here fucking throwing 100 miles an hour. I can't wait to do Heat on this fucking pod. Maybe that's next. But, like, I don't know if Dustin Hoffman's doing that, and he didn't do that. So, all right, let's get to the scene rundown. First thing I started was we see them placing bugs.
Did we do the Oscar one?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. What you got?
They lost Best Picture to Rocky.
Oh, rightfully so.
And that was the same year as Taxi Driver, so I don't know. That was a hard one.
Oh, no. Wait, the Oscars got it wrong. Rocky beat Taxi Driver in this?
Yes.
Like, I'm okay with Rocky beating this because, like, Rocky's a great movie, but not Taxi Driver, bro. Taxi Driver is Robert De Niro's, like, that's his shit.
Yeah.
Have you seen Taxi Driver?
Mm-mm.
Oh, my God. I was saying,
streaming now.
It's on Netflix. We might do that next. We might just be in an old movie binge. Like, but continue, Schubert.
So therefore De Niro was up for Best Actor, but
who won that?
Peter Finch from this movie called Network, which is about a TV network.
Man, Dustin Hoffman or fucking De Niro should have won over his ass.
Yeah. So nobody was up for Best Actor or Best Actress in this movie that we're talking about, but Jason Robards did win for Best Supporting Actor.
As he should. Jason Robards was incredible.
And he beat the guy who played Mickey in Rocky.
Oh, yeah. Mickey definitely didn't fucking deserve it. Oh, my gosh. Fucking Rocky.
Other than that, All the President's Men won the Best Screenplay based on material and Best Art Department.
Nice. Okay. Nice. Good
and
for
Best Sound.
It won Best Sound over Taxi. Mm-hmm. Crazy. I can't wait for you to watch Taxi Driver because that movie's fucking incredible. All right, let's get to the scene.
Best Sound over King Kong in the 70s.
Crazy.
And A Star is Born.
Crazy. Wow. But all right, let's get to the scene rundown. We see them placing bugs in the Democratic headquarters. The first thing I had. And then after that, I go, Woodward's at the court asking questions about the bugging. That's when we start to dive in.
Yeah, so this kind of shows you, the beginning of the story. Like, you kind of just stumble upon something. You don't really know. Like, he
Yeah.
was just kind of like the general, cops and courts assignment reporter. Like, okay, we got this case today. Go check
He
it
got
out,
really
write a
lucky.
story about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, he was just right place at the right time. And he happened to, just pop by, see a bunch of lawyers, start chatting them up about the case that was about to start, and noticed that something was kind of out of
Shaky.
place,
Yeah.
and then decided to just follow his gut instinct.
And how
So-
he kind of stumbled into that is kind of how this movie starts. Like, this movie doesn't like, okay, we're starting now. Here's Woodward, here's No, it's just like, you're in this
Yeah.
bitch.
See, and
It's
that's
kind of
what- and
like
that-
the news. Like, if you turned on the news one day and you started following a story, it would kind of just start, and then it
Yeah.
would go, and then eventually it would be over, and there's maybe not really a resolution.
True. Schubert, what were you about to say?
Yeah, that was the whole purpose of what I was saying earlier when I had to watch it twice. Is like, first time I watched this, I'm like, wait, how did we get to this point? Because it starts with like Nixon real video, and then it goes to like them at Watergate getting caught, which is like, feels totally different than what it becomes later when
yeah.
Robert Redford's coming up. But I mean, it is like you said, right place, right time. And they even mentioned how young he was in the paper. It was surprising that they didn't just like take it from him.
He was only there for 9 months, and Bernstein was about to get fired. Like, so
Yeah.
it was literally hinging on like, oh, these guys got super, super lucky. So the next thing I wrote down is Woodward tracking down info on Watergate, trying to figure out why they bugged the DNC. And then I go, as Woodward keeps finding stuff on Howard Hunt, he keeps learning more about the conspiracy. And this is like him tracking it down early, getting his first writings on it. And then as he's writing, that's when Schubert's boss, that's what the scene Schubert just talked about. The boss comes, talks to not even Ben Bradley yet, talks to his supervisor. And his supervisor's like, dude's been here for 9 months. What are we doing? And he was like, he's hungry. Like, do you not remember being hungry? And he was like, you were about to fire Bernstein like a couple days ago. He was like, let's just give him a shot. And then Bernstein takes his draft and like is like writing, and Woodward's like, what's he doing over there? Writes something else, puts it there. Bernstein takes it again, starts writing. I'm gonna keep it a beat. We all work in media. We all have to write for the websites of our bosses. I'm not gonna lie, if one of the motherfuckers came and tried to take my fucking thing and start writing, I'd be kind of pissed.
No, absolutely. And that's
that was the whole
what,
interaction.
Woodward said. He was like, I'm not mad at you, trying to do this for the sake of helping me. I believe that you're trying to help me, but it's the way that you went about this. Like, if you want to help me, just come say you want to help me, and I'll let you help me. It's not that big a deal. But like, don't be a sneaky asshole about it and like think I'm not going to catch you.
That's like if you're online on WordPress and someone that you work with just goes and starts editing your document and kicking you out of the WordPress thing.
Dude,
That's never happened.
That's never happened to me either. I'd be fucking pissed.
I hesitate to say this, but literally today I was at work and
that happened to you? Oh my gosh.
No. I'm a news producer, so we have to, like, part of the company requirements are whenever we put video on air. So like literally every piece of video that we run,
You got to write something about it?
no, two people just have to check and make sure it's the right video.
Okay.
And so when you're, one of those two people, there's two columns in the program. It's like a spreadsheet, basically. There's two columns for like video check number 1 and video check number 2. And I started noticing my initials next to stories that I know for a fact I hadn't watched. And I was like, how is this happening? Like, it wasn't just like a story from my show earlier that they had taken and put in their show. It was like totally new stuff that I had never seen before. And I was like, okay, clearly, like, is there someone else with my initials and I'm just now noticing this? Like, I didn't say anything because I'm still fairly new at this job and I wasn't going to go throwing accusations around. But if I see it again, I'm going to say something, God damn it, because that's my ass on the line. It's my initials in the column.
I feel that. Yeah.
So like, if
you're getting
if
Bernstein.
if Bernstein had taken Woodward's shit and Woodward hadn't noticed and he had just rewritten it and then thrown it back in the bin and it comes out wrong,
he'd have been
then
fucked.
It's Woodward's ass on the line because his name's on the report.
Fuck
So
yeah.
don't fuck with me, guy, because I'll fucking catch you.
For those out there in media, don't pull a Bernstein. That's not kosher.
No, not at all.
Bro, I'd
That's
be
the thing
so
that gets you
pissed.
blackballed from the after work drinks.
That's a fucking fact. All right, so the next scene I got is after Bernstein starts reworking Woodward's story. Woodward and Bernstein start working together, and now we start following Bernstein, and we start to get a little bit of him and what he's doing. And
Is this the airport?
Yeah, this is like when he goes and the library
He meets up with that girl or whatever, and then an airplane goes by, and she's just like full on yelling, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then like Dustin Hoffman comes back around, and he's just like talking with the plane still going. I was like, this girl was full on like. I was like, could you just like run that back when the plane didn't go by? Like, was that like why did that have to make the cut like that? That just irked me in the end. I was like, why did they just like let this happen when the plane went by? Like, what's the purpose of the plane?
Old school filming, man. Like it just happened.
Yeah,
they kept
you
it
only
in.
got so much film.
Yeah,
I didn't bring extra films with me. We got to keep this take.
They got a budget, like they can't overspend, can't digitally remove the sound out of there like today. 100%.
Well, plus, it kind of makes it more authentic. Like you really get that natural sound. You know, they call it in the business of like the background noise is basically like, you know, like if you're doing a nature story, you want like the babbling brook sound in there, or like some birds chirping. It makes it more believable.
Well, my mindset was like, I felt like they wanted to do that as like to show that they went to a place that was by an airport so that their voices would get muffled by the airplanes. Like that's what I thought.
Maybe
potentially, yeah.
But yeah, possibly
the meeting spot was strategic, maybe.
Yeah.
They definitely start doing that towards once they start realizing how deep the conspiracy is. They definitely start doing that shit.
Well, and what was the airport in Washington D.C.'s name back then? Because it probably wasn't Ronald Reagan International Airport.
No, I don't know what it was.
I don't know.
It was probably just like Washington, like LAX, like how it's Los Angeles International Airport or whatever. Fucking, it's probably just like Washington D.C. International Airport or some shit like that. WDIA. All right. So the next thing I got is the library lady gets caught in a lie about Howard Hunt. Then the library lies about the connection to Hunt. And Ben Bradley turns down the first version of the story, saying it's not ready yet. Still thin. Oh, I would hate hearing still thin.
Yeah, that sucks, dude. When you're like, okay, I think I figured it out. I think I cracked the case. Mm-hmm. And then you go turn it into your boss and you're like, nah, dog, this ain't it. What did I just do all day? That's
why I'm so happy I don't work in like, I do some reporting, but like for the most part, I write opinion pieces and like I write factual things. Like it's not something that someone can turn down. Like I'm not like reporting on this murder or like doing investigative journalism. No, I'm writing opinion pieces. That shit's awesome. Once I'm finished, I turn that shit in. It's over with. It's out there.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is there's no facts at all. It's just purely opinions.
No, there's facts in there. There's facts in there. I write some factual things. Like I wrote about the Saints offensive coordinator being Pete Carmichael getting hired. That's a fact.
Yeah, it's fact.
Allegedly. I'll believe it when I see him on the field.
No, it's fact. Like
I'm not believing
you followed the paper trail.
The fake media, the fake liberal media coming out of Lafayette right now.
Far from liberal media, but let's get away from that. Next up, the next scene I got is after Ben Bradley turns on the first version. Woodward's connect said he meets his connect and he was like, don't hit him up about Watergate again. His connect then tells him how to contact him because the story's too big, and that connect is Deep Throat. We meet Deep Throat for the first time. What was y'all's thoughts on Deep Throat, and why the fuck did he name himself Deep Throat?
He didn't.
No, it was in reference to a porn movie at the time.
Oh, okay.
It was called Deep Throat. And so the term for like when you have a source that you can't quote, because there are some sources that remain anonymous, but you can use their quotes, you know, the actual words that they've said. But when you can't use their name and you can't use their quotes, you can only use the information that they tell you as a reference. Then that's called being on deep background instead of just like the normal background where they're anonymous. So the guy, Woodward's and Bernstein's boss, I guess their managing editor or whatever he would be called, he says during one of their meetings, like, "Oh yeah, I thought it was funny. I call him Deep Throat." So he basically took the porno's name and applied it to this guy on Deep Background.
I'm so happy you just explained that, because every time I watch this movie, I was just like, why the fuck is his name Deep Throat? And I never caught that scene. Like, never.
Yeah, no, apparently this was like one of the most raunchy pornos ever made at the time. This was back when they were still like, you had to go to the movie theater if you wanted to watch a porno.
Oh, we talked about that with The Departed.
6 other dudes in trench coats.
Yeah, we talked about that last time with the jerk off theaters, nasty ass shit.
Yep, the smut films.
That's crazy, but like Deep Throat, what a fucking name for your source. Like, wild 60s, 70s, wild times. Schubert, you had something to say about old Deep Throat?
No, that was exactly how the way Ian described it is exactly how it came to me when I watched the movie. And I had always wondered why. There's an explanation.
Yeah, good explanation, Ian. Thank you. See, difference between me working in radio and Ian is as an investigative news journalist over there, man.
No, I don't investigate. Other people do the investigating. I just take their words and then rewrite them into my own words. And then there's my show.
Okay, so next up we got is after the how did y'all feel about Hal Holbrook's acting as Deep Throat? I thought it was good. He did a good job as like suspicious, and you can never really see his face. It's always shadowy. It's like, ooh. But I will say, as we get closer to the end, the more he starts to reveal, the more we see his face. Like at first it was super dark, but like towards the end, it was like you could see his face fully.
Dude, the little things that they do cinematically in this movie are just unbelievable. The way this movie is shot, some of the choices that they make with, the actual framing of the pieces. Like, for example, when there are a few transitions, like I mentioned, where, they're basically just showing a TV in the newsroom, and then also Woodward and Bernstein, or one of the two, maybe in the background working. And I guess we could, save the last one because that's really the most impactful. But, for example, there's a transition between scenes where they show like, okay, now their story has gone from being inside the paper to now it's on the front page, but it's below the fold. Which, was still back in the day when newspapers' heyday.
Still a big deal.
It was a big deal to be on the front, but if you're not above the fold, then that's like still a step below. It's like 1A and 1B,
But still, for being the young guns, it's like they're coming up, they're on the rise.
Exactly, and it shows the progression that the paper and the readers are taking it more seriously. So it's afforded a better spot in the paper each day progressively. So it's kind of like a timestamp, if you will, of like, how big the story is at the time. And it's really like just a half a second that they show, the guy has the paper and you can see it, and then he flips it over to the front. And that's to show you that it's right below the fold. Like it's just some of the choices that they make, that you can tell that whoever wrote the script and was directing the movie, and all the people who had a hand in these kind of things, they really knew what the news industry is like.
Well, it's literally who we said. It was Goldman, Burns. It was Goldman and Woodward. Man, Woodward really helped with this, and so did fucking Ben Bradley, because Ben Bradley was like, I want this to feel like a real newspaper movie. So they really helped out with the script and with the director and Redford producing. So like, you got to thank those dudes for that. But
now here comes something that we mentioned. It's a journalism thing, and it's a newspaper movie. My whole deal, and this kind of ties in with what we talked about, like the librarian stuff like that. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, if I got a call and it was a newspaper person and they were asking me about something, I'd hang up.
Yeah, they got hung up on multiple times.
Well, I'm like, how are these people getting so much information from me? Like, these people just are bad at keeping secrets, or just like want to blurt it out. It's like,
that's a fact.
It's not as exciting as they make it seem in this movie. Like at my last job, I'd have to call police all the time for like breaking news. And just like they would never call us back, or it was like they would call us and they'd be like, yeah, we're still investigating, we can't say anything right now. click. It's like, okay, thanks. So you may have just not even called me back at that point.
I think they sensationalized that part because, like Schubert said, I feel like it would have took multiple times calling to get those people to talk, unless they wanted
Yeah.
to.
And that doesn't make for a very good movie, you know,
No.
like them just calling people and getting hung up on, unless you do like a little quick montage, maybe,
Which they did
like,
do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
that's really, again, it's more about like, let's show you the story rather than like, let's take you through the day-to-day
of Watergate.
labor pains of being a reporter.
100%. So the
and
next,
I also felt like we glossed over this other build of like when Woodward was hitting the courts, and then they go around and they ask all those dudes professions, which I didn't know you did, but I guess it was relevant. And then that gets to the CIA thing, and that's how he's like finds to discover that he was like part of the CIA doing things like looking into Kennedy and
yeah, you're right, with Chappaquiddick,
and
that was
so
like
that
the
was
big
like,
thing. Yeah,
I remember when that stuff was going on, and I was like, "Whoa, what the hell?"
Yeah, no, that was huge because that's when you lead into the big journalism meeting with all the heads of the newspaper, and I'm guessing that Bradley's most trusted reporter outside of him and the guy he kept was the international news guy who has all the sources, and then he was like, "Stay after," and the international news guy was like, "Yeah, man, like it's weird because like the CIA is involved in all this shit, but like, why is Woodward and Bernstein doing this? Like, do we trust them? Can we trust them?" He's like, if this goes bad, this will be really bad because y'all are like naming a lot of people and it's ruffling a lot of feathers in like the political sphere.
Which is also probably a reason why they let the young guys do it.
True. Yeah, so they could burn them if necessary.
Potentially, yeah. Well, and you got to think that hurts the entire paper, not just Woodward and Bernstein. Like, if people in any space,
especially
really,
Bradley,
politics, sports, doesn't really matter if they see some stories about like, okay, the Washington Post is on some bullshit, then they're not going to want to go talk to the Washington Post about anything, Watergate or not.
Yep.
So,
you get something wrong in this business, like Ian said, no matter what it is, bro, your credibility is shot. Like just having a typo is bad enough, but like fucking getting like actual shit wrong. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, like factual information. That's how you lose your job.
Facts. You cannot do that. That's one thing I can say about writing for my job. And I know we keep bringing it back to our jobs, but this is like stuff we do on an actual day-to-day basis. Like that shit makes my heart pump when I'm writing a story. Like, oh God, please let this be right. Please let this be right. Like I'm checking like multiple times because like once I hit publish, like I told y'all, there's no one in between me and the reader. It's published, baby.
Yeah, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube at that point.
No, sir. Like so, and that's why, like, if I fuck up, I'm fired. I'm out of there.
Yeah, you gotta cross your T's and dot your I's
multiple times. Like I gotta have multiple crosses and like line, and just dots. So, but all right. So the next thing I got is okay. So after the connect, Deep Throat and Woodward have their first meeting. And then so then I got Bernstein going to Miami where he pulls a fast one, gets that lady out of there, and then goes meet with that dude. And Bernstein's just hassling. Dude's like, come back tomorrow. He's like, nah, dog, fuck that. I've been here too long. I'm not coming back. And he's like, come back tomorrow. He's like, nah, I ain't coming back. Starts smoking a cigarette, walking around. Dude's like, please come back tomorrow. Nah, I gotta go write this paper. And then the lady walks in and he's like, I'm definitely not leaving now. Bitch, you had me waiting. And she was
you didn't say, bitch, you had me waiting. In fact, he said, pardon me, madam, but I have been waiting to talk to this man.
That's what I heard.
Opposite.
Hubert, that's what I heard from Bernstein. That's how he was talking to. He was like, yo, y'all got me fucking waiting too long.
Well, I mean, he was even talking to her outside of the office that way. That's the whole reason that he didn't go in.
Yeah.
She was trying to power play. She was like, you did not go through me to get this appointment, so your ass is gonna wait.
And then
it was definitely his boss said, hey, don't let this guy in.
Facts. And then that's why the dude was like, she takes care of me, doesn't she? Shrug. And then but what saved him was he was like, don't worry, I'm writing the story no matter what tomorrow. So what I say about y'all don't want to cooperate, that's on you, partner. And he was like, wait. Hold up. Here's all the stuff. Y'all just can't use us as sources.
Yeah. Don't say my name. You have whatever you want.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, my bad. Kirsty interrupting the pod. So yeah. So no, that shit was fucking hilarious. So he finds out that there's a check for like $25,000. There's all these checks that are just going missing at the or that got stolen from the robbery at the DNC, and like they were made out to all these different people and whatnot. And so that's where it's like, okay, there's money involved there. This is some deep shit. So the next scene I wrote down is I said Bernstein is a fucking sleuth. Got those banking records along with the new name Dahlberg. So boom, now they're going down the rabbit hole of Dahlberg. Woodward then talks to Dahlberg, and they're getting closer and closer to the answer. And then I go, Woodward gets a break with Dahlberg because that's when they figure out some shit. What do they figure out about the Dahlberg shit, Ian? I forget exactly. Something's big from Dahlberg.
So Dahlberg says, yeah, it goes up to this guy, Maurice. Well, I can't remember his last name, but it starts with an F. Who is basically like I think he's the second in command on the committee to reelect the president.
Yep.
Something like that.
And head of the financials.
Yes. So basically they're now saying, okay, it's not just some low-level dudes who were just acting on their own, or like, a group of Cubans and an ex-CIA guy.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, we have direct ties to at least the committee to reelect the president, which they are kind of looking at as its own separate thing from Nixon and his administration at that point.
Yep. And it's Kenneth H. Dahlberg. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And that's who the check was made out to. And like you said, he works for the committee, and then Dahlberg ends up calling Woodward back because he didn't believe that he was a reporter. And he was like, bruh, I'm not involved in this. I'm just trying to, keep my name safe. He couldn't explain how the check got into Barker's account, but it was given to Maurice Stans, baby. That's who it was.
That's what his name is, yeah.
And that's who they fucking hated. That everybody hated Stans because they said he was a douche.
Sounds like there were a lot of douches in this movie.
Yeah, no, for sure. So after that, what did I say? Okay, so then Bradley and the brass is trying to shut down the story. This is when they think it's like just some conspiracy, some money shit that like Schubert, like you were saying, some Cuban, some CIA shit. It's gonna get shut down because the re-election. They were trying to get it out before the re-election, but then the re-election happened because they stopped the investigation. The FBI, the CIA, whoever was investigating it, stopped it until after the re-election. And that's where we see that scene you were talking about with the balloons dropping and Nixon like this and Woodward and Bernstein still trying to work.
Yep. Yeah. Every time that they get shut down, they just, they hop right back to work.
Keep grinding.
I think it was like they were trying to get some information, but was the committee to reelect, I think, was stonewalling them with whatever information that they wanted.
I think
they were just going to wait until after.
Yeah.
Was it when he got reelected, or was he nominated?
It was after the nomination, until after the nomination. Yeah, it wasn't him getting reelected. It was him because he got 1,347 votes to the other guy's one, and like they fucked over the other guy's campaign because they thought he was going to lose.
They thought Nixon was going to lose, so they sabotaged this guy.
Yeah,
along with a lot of other people.
They were rat fucking him, but that name comes later. So, the next thing we got is Woodward and Bernstein go to this woman's house. That's the Sally woman no, that's not Sally. Never mind. They go to this woman's house and they get sent away. And then Bernstein is like, nah, you know what? Let's no. They're like, let's go back. And then Woodward's like, nah. And then Bernstein finally goes on his own and gets in thanks to the woman's sister and starts smoking, drinking coffee and is doing the Bernstein thing of she's like, please leave. And he's like, what about this name? What about that name? Coffee's cold. Yeah. How about this name?
I promise I'll only be a few more minutes. Dude, it must have been so advantageous, like intimidation wise. And that sounds bad when you say about him and this woman, but like he did the same thing with the the dude in Miami.
He did this to
where-
everybody. Like this, he didn't discriminate against sex. Anybody could get the
I'm
Bernstein
saying
treatment.
the cigarettes are what helped him. Like he was able to just like, like you said, kind of dismiss this guy and his concerns by just casually smoking his cigarette while he was talking to him. It's the kind of the equivalent to turning your nose up in the air.
Yep.
And then again, he uses cigarettes here to get in the door by saying, hey, I'll go. Can I just have one of your cigarettes? And then just walks in and, takes the cigarettes and lights one. So,
but this is the big break in the case, because this is what allows them to ask Sally, the woman who worked with them, to ask her boyfriend a question, and then she turns him down. But Woodward's like, "Don't worry about it." And then the next day she brings the paper and gives them the information they need. But without without Bernstein going to this woman's house, they're up shit's creek, because that woman gives them everything. She gives them the M initial, the L initial, and the P initial for Porter,
Liddy,
and
Maurice
Maurice Stands. Yeah. So that was the break in the whole situation.
So basically what I'm saying is, if I could smoke cigarettes in public wherever I went, I would be a much better journalist than I am right now.
That's why they shut that shit down. That and smoking an airplane.
The journalists were finding out too much, so we had to ban cigarettes.
They had to ban them. Schubert, you got anything on these scenes?
I mean, it just was really interesting how they would find ways to manipulate the people to getting what they want. And
they each had their own way. Like Bernstein was trying to be too aggressive with that woman at the Sally woman at the newspaper. And Woodward's like, nah, that's not how you handle her, because she's not someone who feels threatened by these people who want to talk to you, get this off their chest. She doesn't have nothing to do with this. So Woodward's like, nah, I'm gonna make her feel guilty this way. And she got the information for him. He was just like, nah, don't worry about it. You do your thing.
Yeah, he's like,
embarrass you, Sally.
That was probably their best example of good cop, bad cop. And he was like, nah,
so
we're on the same team. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. We'll drop it. He knew that was going to get her.
And the way that they would manipulate, I guess maybe I'm getting ahead of it here, but it runs parallel, because I'm watching like a show on Netflix that is about writing an article. And the de facto thing to say to someone who you're writing a story about is like, well, I'm writing the story, so regardless of whether or not you want your side of the story told,
it's getting written.
Up to you.
Yeah, facts.
It's getting written.
Yep.
And they tell that to multiple people.
That puts the fear of God in people right away. It's like, oh,
yes,
God, some shit's going to be out there, and I don't control what it's going to say. Let me jump on that.
That's
the
why
Kanye effect.
That's why the
Kanye's
Miami people
control everything about Kanye. So you tell Kanye there's going to be some Kanye shit that Kanye is not in. Kanye is going to want to get in that Kanye shit and make it more Kanye.
Facts. But that's what the Miami dude did. That's what Dahlberg did, and that's what Sally's man did. When fucking Bradley was like, "Look, we writing this. I don't have to say you was in that woman apartment, but you got to tell me something, because it's getting written either way." So
yeah, it's up to you. The choice is yours.
Yep, dude was cheating and a part of Watergate. Talk about a bad time.
Like cheating.
That guy, Sally's guy. That
when
his wife found that shit out. You was Watergate.
Wife, kids, a dog, and a cat.
A cat, yeah. That shit was hilarious. Okay, so the next thing I got is his initials idea was great. I thought that was a great idea from Bernstein. But then they go to meet Sloan, and Sloan is basically the next domino for them figuring stuff out. Sloan is the dude who initially was supposed to be the fall guy for the party, who had to do the congressional hearing. And basically even his hearing was kind of a sham, as we find out later, because they weren't investigating the whole thing. They didn't investigate what's it, Handelbrook or Handybrook, whatever the fuck dude's name is that starts with an H. Haldeman. Yeah, they didn't investigate Haldeman, and that's what Sloan's grand jury stuff was all about. But they're not quite there yet. This is the first time they meet Sloan, and his wife's like, "We're honest people," and Sloan's like, "Let him in, baby."
Sloan basically tells him that first time that who does he confirm that's involved?
Maurice Stands, yeah.
No, and it was John.
Hold on.
Was it John Haldeman?
No, yeah. Haldeman. I thought Haldeman's the last confirmation.
Haldeman is the fifth. Man, who's the fourth?
I feel like this is Porter stands and like I feel like he just confirms all the stuff they knew.
Well, yeah, he tells him, who he got the money from, where it was going. He basically tells him, like, yeah, we were, he's very nonchalant about it. Like, yeah, this is what was going on. Here's how we were paying these guys.
Yep. So, and then the next thing I have is this is where they meet the rat fucking guy, little boy Segretti, the lawyer. And Segretti's like, I'm going down either way, but I'll tell you what I know. And he explains rat fucking in the whole USC crowd who worked for fucking Haldeman and fucking Nixon to do all this shit to sabotage the Democratic side because they didn't want to run against Kennedy. They didn't want to run against two other people. And that's why they chose that one person. They rat fucked the other three because they knew they would have lost to, especially to Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crazy. Do y'all think this stuff still happens? It has to. There's no way it doesn't.
It does. Well, I mean, like that's the whole thing is like when I'm watching this, I'm like, well, this stuff still happens.
It's because Bernie got rat fucked. Yeah, Bernie did get rat fucked by Hillary that one time.
It's just less people are answering the phone and giving them all the information.
Yeah, no one's answering the phone, Schubert. Nobody is. Everybody's keeping it hush hush. Danny DeVito.
You hear something new about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton every single day about, oh, they were spying on this person, or oh, they had their people spying on that person. So,
and I feel like we don't do shit about it now.
Well, because it's on both sides. But we don't have to have the political conversation now.
But it's crazy because it's true. Schubert's right. Schubert, you caught my LA Confidential joke? Keep it hush hush. Okay, I'm just making sure. Danny DeVito. Ian, you'll watch that movie eventually. All right, next up. Oh, what y'all think of Scagretti, that little puss? What a little puss.
His teeth were ridiculous, dude. I don't know if they did that on purpose for the movie, but the way he was
just an ugly man.
Like rows of teeth. He was like it looked fake. It was like, are you doing this as a bit because you think this is funny? Like,
and he was balding in the worst places. Poor guy.
Yeah, he was talking. Yeah. He was talking about himself like he was hot shit, and I was like, "Bro, you suck."
And that's why fucking Deep Throat was like, "Are you talking about Lil Piss Ant Scagretti? Fuck that guy. It's deeper than that."
Yeah, you're missing the big picture. Guys.
Yeah,
this guy's just a pawn.
You're missing the picture.
He's a sleazeball lawyer with bad teeth.
Yep. So then, and speaking of Deep Throat, the next thing I wrote down is Woodward goes back to meet with Deep Throat, but this is when that car's there and Deep Throat disappears and Woodward starts walking and he's looking back and he's like, and they do like the little jump thing and no one's there. I'm like, bro, y'all should have at least had someone there, like to scare me. But I guess that's good filmmaking to make you be paranoid thinking someone is there because that's how he felt. He was paranoid.
This was before the whistles?
It
that same time where the whistling.
I think
it was the same time.
I think it was the same time because the car is like right after, and that's when he disappears, like Batman. They make fucking Deep Throat Batman. And Woodward's like, "Huh? Where'd he go? What the fuck?" But Deep Throat didn't really tell him anything. This was the time where he was like, "I can't tell you shit about Haldeman." This was this time. I think, or that might have been the time before. I could be mixing them up because he talks to Deep Throat like 3 times.
As the movie goes on, Deep Throat kind of starts to loosen up a little bit. Mm-hmm. This isn't the time where he just comes out and flat out says what's going on, but this is kind of a precursor to that where he says like, you're missing the bigger picture. Let's review what we know so far. Like, they were paying people off.
He's like, think like
rigging elections.
Like who could it be? Like, I'm not gonna paint this to you. Just think, Woodward.
Yeah.
Think.
Look at all of these different things you already know what's going on, and just make 2 + 2 = 4 here, and see what you get.
Yep. Okay. So then the next thing after that is they go back to Sloan's to ask about Haldeman. This is where Sloan tells them about Haldeman, Ian, and then Bernstein. This is when they're at the office and Bradley's like, are you sure? Get one more source. And this is where Bernstein calls Sloan and he's like, all right, wait 10 seconds. Oh no, he calls his FBI friend, either Sloan or the FBI. I forget which one it is. And he's like,
it's the FBI
guy. It's the FBI. Okay. So he's like, I'm gonna stay on the phone for 10 seconds. And if it's true, just stay on and talk. He does it. And then he stays on and talks. And then the next day, it's supposedly they got the info wrong. Haldeman says, and this is where Haldeman's side comes out to spin the media and basically say, no, you're wrong. But Bradley's like, if you can get like a confirmation, make sure you're right. If not, you have to resign. And this is when Woodward goes to Deep Throat and's like, I can't take it anymore. And and Deep Throat's like, you shouldn't have mentioned Haldeman unless you had the proof. He's like, no, tell me if I'm right. I can't be dancing in circles. And that's when fucking Deep Throat's face comes out and he just lets him know everything. And then boom, shit's busted wide open. They go to Woodward goes to fucking Hoffman and is like, we can't talk, turns up the volume. He's like, they're watching us. And then they go to Bradley, and Bradley gives the most amazing speech. He's like, we're only here fighting for the First Amendment, the Constitution, and the future democracy. What a great speech by Robards. I wish I could have wrote it all down because that was the best quote of the movie in my mind.
That was his Oscar moment.
Right after that, he says, but not that any of that matters, because if you guys get one more story wrong, I'm going to get mad.
She was right.
Gentlemen, go home.
that was his Oscar moment. Yeah, go home. Take 15 minutes. Not even like take the night. Like no,
he's like home, take a bath,
shower, wait 15 minutes, collect yourself, then go back to get to work. That's crazy. Like my dude's been working all night. They can't even eat dinner. You told them to take a shower,
if not months,
and then take 15. What's 15 minutes gonna do for them? They should just go finish so they can go to sleep.
Yeah. Exactly.
But what a good speech by Robards. Great moment. So then the next thing I have after that is Woodward and Bernstein write the story and the movie ends.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting the way that they chose, again, stylistically or cinematically to end this movie, because it's really just like a very quick wrap up.
We don't even see what happens with Watergate
on the typewriter.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of show you like through the headlines, which I thought was an interesting way to do it.
Would they show what they write instead of seeing like a montage of Nixon?
Exactly, yeah, or a montage of actual newspapers, like a la Superman transitions or something like that. Like this is just like they're writing it as it were happening. You see the date line up at the top to let you know kind of when these court cases were wrapping up, and one ended up happening to all these guys, and most of them got off with slaps on the wrist or pleading guilty to lesser charges and just serving reduced sentences. And then the last headline is Nixon resigns, Gerald R. Ford is going to take over as president.
Yep.
And then they roll the credits.
So what a crazy way to end the movie.
To the story.
I do think that there would have been better ways to end it, but I do think that it's a style choice. It's not terrible.
I would say this: if this was 2012, let me not even. If it was 2000 onward, the movie would have ended way different. Way different. The movie would have either given us a montage of Nixon shit, or it would have shown Woodward and Bernstein like themselves writing it. If it was in the 90s, it would have been Ian said like newspaper clippings, like actually showing the newspaper. This was like 70s, like, all right, we're doing this headlines. We're going to do some artsy fartsy shit and just in the movie. Like budget's done, over with. And I dug how, like Ian said, I dug how they ended it. I wasn't mad at it.
Well, I think it was, we've been focusing on these journalists the whole time. Like, let's just show it, one last time. Because again, right before that happens, it's another clip of, the TV with Woodward and Bernstein
working in the background, yep.
Writing. And so you kind of see, all of the headlines that they had typed
they've been writing.
That point. Because basically the storyline there where it stopped, like the hard part of cracking the case and like proving
it's
that
over
this
with.
Was what was going on, it's over at that point. So then the rest of the headlines are just fallout from there, or further explanations of what was going on.
Yeah, they didn't have any more investigation to do. It makes sense.
It came out later that there were a lot of other higher level guys, like a guy by the last name of Ehrlichman comes to mind, and they didn't even mention a lot of those people in this movie. So it's really again, much less about the Watergate itself and explaining all of the intricate details, and more of just about like, hey, here's how these guys stumbled upon this case and finally, broke it open to a point where everyone was taking them seriously.
And saved, really, democracy. They kind of saved it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how long stuff was going on like that
Yeah.
beforehand, or how long it might have gone on afterwards undetected. But it definitely turned the public eye to, monitoring what elected officials are doing
Doing. Yeah,
much
bro.
more closely.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Bradleys. The Bradleys, the best American journalist family. Got to give it to them. To have Watergate and Spotlight, like what? Nuts. Dude saved little kids from raping priests and then saved us from cheating rat fucking presidents.
Not in that order.
Not in that order. No, not at all. All right. Let's that's the end. Let's best scene in the movie. What y'all got?
It's got to be, for me, the scene where the car pulls out of the lot and Deep Throat vanishes.
Yeah.
And then right after that, Redford he doesn't know if he's going to walk into somebody and get shot or, get clipped by a car.
That's where he turns around and has the jump scare.
Happen.
Yeah. That's a good one, Ian. I like that one. Shuby, what you got?
I like when everything like starts to hit the fan. Or I guess it's like when Deep Throat tells him or whatever, like you need to be careful. They come like they'll kill you.
The final
whatever.
speech.
And he's like, and he's playing up the music, and then the iconic scene of them like typing back and forth to each other on a typewriter.
Nice. That's a good scene. I like both of those. Man, I kind of either want to go with Bernstein investigating that woman or the Robards speech at the end. I gave Robards speech best quotes, so I'm going to go with Bernstein investigating that woman. Dude was just badgering, man. Straight up badgering, smoking cigs, tells the woman, my coffee's cold. Like, what? Like, Bernstein, what are you doing? Like, I need some milk. Like, dude's just out here wilding. And she's like, can you please leave?
Well, no, because he's saying that he doesn't want to write and while she's watching him write, because he thinks she'll stop talking if he's taking notes.
Yeah.
So he kept sending her out of the room to get coffee, and that's why he came back with all those napkins and tissues and shit, so he could hide what he was writing and not make it look like he was writing a bunch of shit when she left the room.
Crazy. That's why that was such a good scene. I like Ian's scene. I like Schubert's scene. I like mine. Also throw Jason Robards' speech in there because that's a fucking great scene. Those are the 4 best scenes of this damn movie. Incredible. All right. Now that we got best scene, let's do best actor. Let's talk about it. Who wins? Hoffman or Redford, or does Robards win?
I don't think it's Robards.
Yeah, I'm not giving it to Robards.
A supporting role.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I just had to toss his name in there.
Who wins?
Like, who's the better actor? Is it Redford or is it Hoffman? I think Hoffman.
I think it's more eccentric.
See, I think that's because Hoffman was more eccentric, but I think Redford's coolness dials like the reason why Hoffman's so successful is because of how cool and chill Redford is.
Yeah,
and I think
agree with that.
And I think Redford pulls off cool and chill so well that he just elevates Hoffman in a sense. Like Hoffman might have scored 30, but Redford scored 20 and had 15 assists.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's
I mean, like you said, Hoffman is kind of the more eclectic, captivating character personality wise, so he draws your attention. Whereas Redford is kind of, his flaw is, where Hoffman's or Bernstein's flaw is being too aggressive and too anxious and not vetting your stories properly.
Woodward's too meticulous.
Well, and he's too new, like he makes a lot of mistakes throughout this movie that a reporter shouldn't make. Like when he's talking to Sloan, he tells him that he's a Republican as well, which is a huge no-no if you're a journalist. You're not supposed to present an opinion on anything unless you're writing a column piece. And even then, it's still kind of, up to your editor how much they'll let you get away with. So that's, his downfall. While he saved himself by being calm and level-headed in a lot of scenarios, he just, was still kind of new to the whole business. So they were a good pair.
So which actor you got is the better actor, Ian? I need an answer. Schubert picked Hoffman.
I'd probably say Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. As much as I want to give it to Redford, it's Hoffman. Hoffman just killed it. But shout out to you, Robert Redford. That was a great role. All right, let's do let's do our executive decision. Who was the best side character? Jason Robards, right? With Ben Bradley. It's got to be
Either that or Deep Throat.
Yeah, that's what. Are you gonna pick Deep Throat?
I'll pick Deep Throat.
All right, cool. I'm picking Ben Bradley.
Yeah, me too.
All right, who won the movie? Winner of the movie.
Are we talking about character in the movie, or...
This is your thing, Ian. You're the reason why we split up best actor and character.
I just want to make sure.
This is character now. Who won the movie?
Well, I mean, Woodward, if he doesn't, if they remove this story from him and give it to some more experienced reporter, he's not going to get fired. But
no, that's Bernstein that
fired.
Yeah, that was Bernstein.
That's what I'm saying. Bernstein was about. He was on the hot seat. So if he doesn't get this, story and run with it, and he's out the door. So I would say it definitely helped him more out in the long term.
Okay, so you got Bernstein winning. Schubert, who you got winning?
Man, I'd probably have to say Bernstein too, because dude was literally about to get fired.
Yeah, it's
so
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue against Bernstein if you're going Bernstein and Woodward. I could make an argument for Sally because she learned that dude was a skis and had a wife, dog, and kid. I mean, a wife, a dog, and a cat.
A cat, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not going to pick Sally. I'm going Bernstein as well because, like I said, he was going to get fired. Dude went from getting fired to getting Nora Ephron. That's a dub.
Yeah, now he works for Vanity Fair, or that's where he last worked.
Dubbed. Dude won huge. Made a bunch of money. And granted, all this happened to Woodward, but Woodward doesn't get Nora Ephron. Woodward's just chilling. So
I also definitely think Sally knew about the cat long before he came to her apartment.
Oh, so you think Sally was a hussy? A ski?
She's a reporter, man. How does she not know the guy's married?
Wow.
She's got to do her. She definitely did her research. This is pre-Instagram research, but it was still research nonetheless.
Sally was home wrecking. See, it's hard. No, Ian. I'm not gonna because it's hard to do pre-Instagram research because that means she has to go to his house or something. No,
all you gotta do is talk to people. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're right. Hey, what does this guy who works for the committee? Does he have a wife and kids? I think so. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You don't necessarily have to be that. You could ask some feeler questions that are disguised a little bit, like, "Oh, I noticed he had flowers on his desk. Is he married?"
True.
Or some shit like that. "Oh, who's the people in the picture on his desk?" You ask his secretary while you're waiting for him to come back so he can do the story. Something like that.
So who's the loser? So who's the loser of this movie?
Nixon.
Nixon? We don't even see Nixon. Well, we do.
But he lost.
so that's who you're giving it to? You're giving it to Nixon?
Yeah. Nixon definitely did not win.
Nixon did not win. So wait, Ian, who are you giving it to?
Oh man. I don't know. If Schubert's going Nixon, then I might go to the guy from the international department who wanted the story for himself. For his own department and didn't ever get it.
That dude was hot. He was salty. I cannot lie. Wait, I'm trying to find who the fuck was the guy. Was it John Mitchell? That was the guy that was on the phone?
Yeah, John Mitchell. That's who I was talking about. So that's where the money was coming from.
Was it John? Who was on the phone? Was it John Mitchell or Edmund Munski? Who was with Sally? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, Munski was like some opponent of Nixon's that they.
Yeah, you're right. Munski was. Yeah. You're right. Okay, so was it Mitchell? That was the guy she was trying to talk to.
Well,
or what?
No. Mitchell was like way high up in the organization.
Okay. I'm about to see who was Sally dating. All the president's men. That's what I want to know. Who was okay.
Mitchell was the attorney general, wasn't he?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. I can't find it. Oh, wait. Here we go. She was talking to. No, they're not telling me. God damn it. It was whoever Sally Quinn was dating. That's the loser.
Oh, the dude, because he got fired or.
Yeah,
he left the.
With the dog, the cat, the wife. That guy.
Yeah.
That's my loser. Yeah, fuck yeah. any are we sure's? I don't have any. This was a pretty cut and
Are we
dry
sure
movie.
these people would talk to these people and tell them all these things? Like, damn.
Eventually,
You're still
gotta
on
find
that.
You know,
Schubert's
was
still
different
on
time,
that,
man.
bro. Schubert, I
it
thought
was the
we
70s.
I
People
thought
had
we
a lot
came-
more tax.
I
So
thought
if
we
somebody
came
comes
to
at
the-
you and you're not ready for it, you're not gonna know how to
That's
respond.
it.
You're gonna melt
I-
under the pressure.
I thought we came to the conclusion that we said that these people told them no multiple times, but they just showed the one time they said yes.
yeah.
So yeah, it's not are we sure? That's just a system of storytelling. I don't have any are we sure's. Ian, you got any?
Not particularly.
This
no.
movie is
Well,
pretty cut and dry.
It did actually happen.
Yeah, facts. Exactly. So, and they made sure, because if not, we would have got Bernstein doing random acts of shooting guns and fucking bitches, because Bernstein was trying to add some flavor to him.
Yeah.
He was trying to get a sex scene off.
He was. And then at the end, he wanted himself to meet Nora Ephron for the first time. Like, what?
It's just completely unrelated to the story, I'm sure.
But all right, yeah. So then, all right, yeah. Let's get to the rating. That's the final thing. What are we rating this 1 through 10? Look, I'm gonna be honest. This isn't beating The Godfather. I don't think this is beating
No.
The Departed or any of those like upper nines. Well, no, The Departed is not an upper nine. What's one of our upper nines? Like Inglourious Bastards. I don't think this is beating Inglourious Bastards, but like it could be around the Pulp Fiction range of like 8.4, 8.5, maybe even 8.3. Somewhere like
Yeah.
that. So
I feel that.
all right, I since Ian always make you go first, I'll go first. I'm giving this a solid 8.3.
Oh, is Ian next? Or
Yeah,
me?
or whoever, whichever one of y'all want to go.
I have 8.3 as well.
All right,
Right about where I wanted to put it.
Ian, what you want to give it?
I was gonna go 8.6.
8.6. All right, divided by 3. Solid 8.4, tied with Pulp Fiction. We called it. I think this fits right. Pulp Fiction, we're gonna have to redo still. But this has been our All the President's Men review. And like we said, we're trying to make this bi-weekly. So I figured at this point in the show, this is where each time we would do a mini discussion on which we should do next. So 3 movies came to my head during this: LA Confidential, Heat, and Taxi Driver. Shuby, which one of the
Where's Nero?
3?
We haven't even done De Niro, really.
I don't
We
think
did
we've done too
Goodfellas.
much. Yeah, exactly. Which one of the 3 you feeling? It's more Kevin Spacey. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of Kevin Spacey movies. We're just getting them out the way.
That's true.
Well, not too much. What, 1, 2 movies?
We've done 2. And if we do LA Confidential, it's 3.
Yeah.
That's too much.
That's what I'm saying.
What are we gonna start reviewing R. Kelly albums next?
Oh God, no! Stop eating! Stop! No! Cut!
Is it too soon? Or we can't
Cut.
say R. Kelly's name anymore? He's Voldemort now?
Cut!
All right. All right, we found the line. I won't go over it again.
No, I was imitating that guy. You saw the black guy who who was like gonna chug the Hennessy, and then it started burning, and he spit it out. He threw up, and he goes, "Cut the camera, cut." Go. That's where it's from. Go watch that video. I wasn't being like a douche saying
Yeah.
cut.
No, I know what
Honestly,
video
we
you're
missed
talking
we
about.
missed out on an opportunity of this, but we could make it up in the next couple weeks. We should probably do a Spike Lee movie or
Oh, Black History Month. You're
directed-
right. You're right. You are right. All right. That's cool. We've done Training Day on this show, haven't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Antoine Fuqua. All right, cool. So yeah, it's Black History Month. Let's see. Let me see real quick.
We got to do Shaft.
Ooh, Shaft's a good movie.
Maybe.
Let's see.
Either
wanna-
that
Not a
or
bad
Friday.
idea.
Yeah, see, Ian, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
a good
I was thinking Friday.
Or
Do the Right Thing.
What's the Dave Chappelle movie? Half Baked.
Oh, we're not doing Half Baked.
That's a 420 movie.
All right, so yeah, Schubert, you want to do Friday? That's a classic. That's a comedy. Before we switch it up
Yeah.
back to action.
Yeah, we could do that.
All right, cool. Friday's next. Y'all be on the lookout for that. This is
Oh yeah,
that
baby.
won't be next week, but the following week. So, and I'll try to get Brooklyn to come on with us. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Or if not, I'll at least get Brooklyn to put an amendment on the pod where he gives his thoughts on the end. But Friday, looking forward to that Chris Tucker Ice Cube. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Ian, tell the people they can follow you on social media.
You can find me on Twitter at IanBWT. You can find me on Instagram at IanHawley12.
Schubert, tell the people they can follow you on social media.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at aschubert14, on Letterboxd at AdamBWT, and catch Bros Who Binge. We're finishing up. Well, we finished up Boba Fett in the most recent one. Next one we're gonna finish up Peacemaker.
That episode was crazy. Finally watched it. Oh my gosh, Red Dragon got his ass whooped. White Dragon, whatever the fuck his name is, got his ass whooped. But hey, did you see John Cena what his tweet was today? Did you saw that I retweeted? He put a mermaid emoji with a trident on it. And I was like, is Aquaman making a cameo in Peacemaker? I'm calling it right now, Schubert. For those who y'all watching, Aquaman's making a cameo in Peacemaker.
That'd be wild.
We record this on Wednesday. The episode doesn't drop till 3 a.m. Thursday morning. So, but all right, you guys can follow me at LimBWT. Follow Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think. Be sure to check out all the past catalog of Run It Back. And if you prefer audio, this podcast, all right, I'm gonna say this. By the Friday episode, this podcast should have an audio feed. I'm just waiting on Spotify to confirm some things. Same with Apple. Once they do, this podcast will have an audio feed and you'll be able to listen to it as well as watch it. So, but follow us, check out Bros Who Think, check out Bros Who Binge, check out Anime Talk, check out all that good stuff. But remember, next time we do this, be ready. We're reviewing Friday. So not next Friday, but the Friday after next. We're reviewing the first Friday. Hey. Hey. Check us next time. For Ian, for Schubert, my name is Lyndon. Y'all have a good one. Until then, peace.